Hi. Can you hear me? Okay, great. Um, so anyhow, I just realized that I'm not able to screen share with you, so I have a few analog props here to do my PowerPoint. So, anyways, thanks, John, for inviting me to speak here. Um, I would have liked to have been there, um, but Um, first of all, I just as a bit of background to me, I make my living doing what's normally termed as art projects, um, and I'm really inspired by beautiful mistakes or graceful kludges. Um, so one project, and you can see you have video, right? Okay, so you can see my talking head. Um, this is my PowerPoint here. So one project, I don't know if you can see that. Uh, a recent project that I did was take an arcade cabinet and combine it with a golf cart, and then build an 8-bit type of augmented reality system, so you could drive this video game um, around the streets, and it was actually mobile. So like a 8-bit AR type of thing with a thing that drove around. Um, and and I like doing. I mean, other projects that I've done are cockroach controlled, mobile robot. Um, I do research with kids in electronics. Um, and a bunch of other stuff. So I'm that's part of what I do, and I primarily work at have some positions at UC Irvine, and I work at Art Center as well, advising grad students in a design program. So anyhow, the thing that I would like to talk about today is this critical making project. There's a couple different versions of it here that I have. Um, what I how this started out was I was actually at a thing with Mitch Altman. I don't know if any of you know Mitch. Any of you know Mitch? Yeah, he's sort of like a hardware learn how to solder kind of grandfather of hacker spaces in the United States. Oh, and by the way, I should mention that I founded and I run Dorkbot in Los Angeles. I don't know if any of you are involved with Dorkbots, but um, so anyhow, we were at this conference or this maker type of deal in China, and I was talking to Mitch about Maker Faire, and I asked him because he is like hardcore like maker guy, right? Um, so we were there, and I was talking to him, and I said, "So what are you doing for Maker Faire this year?" And he's like, "Well, I'm not going because of this." The O'Reilly took this like $10 million grant from DARPA, and I'm like, "Oh, really? I didn't know about that." Blah blah blah, and Mitch was really, really like visibly upset. It was sort of like I've said to other people that it was like talking to a kid who just went down to open up their presents for Christmas and their Christmas tree was stolen. He was really sort of bummed out, and we started talking about the maker community and DIY stuff and what O'Reilly was within the context of the maker scene or hackerspace scene also. And in a roundabout way, we said, oh, wouldn't that be cool if we did a type of zine, a type of publication that was more going back to the older roots of DIY culture, punk, skate, zine type of format. And wouldn't that be interesting if we took it and did like a contemporary type of spin on that sort of thing? So that was all great, and we were all, talking, and you know how it is when you meet up with people. Like, I don't know if it's like this at that conference. You meet, you talk to people, and a lot of stuff is great ideas, and then you only end up following through on a few of them. So I went back to California. He went back to, I went back to the LA area. He went back to San Francisco, and I started playing around with this idea of what a maker type of publication would be like if it was in the format of a zine, and also what would it be like if it took things like contemporary design, contemporary electronic art, and sort of the rougher edges of not the family friendly type of stuff that comes out of O'Reilly, or now they're called Maker Media because they split off. So I got on Photoshop and I started making I started designing a fake. I don't know if you can read that. Can you read that? Is it in focus? Okay, so I started designing a fake, I don't know if any of you remember Wacky Packages stickers that used to have like the fake products. So I sort of started making a fake Make magazine. So it says, made technology and affluent leisure time. Join the Arduino revolution, but avoid civil disobedience. Open source secret revealed. Everybody just buys the kit. 101 DIY gadgets for white males. How to use a maker bot to make a 3-cent piece of plastic. And then make this DARPA rocket. 3 hours start to launch. Within a little kid making a bomb type of hobby thing, So I started playing around, and I made some stickers. I took an envelope and and I wrote down people that I knew, and these people are mostly in academia or in design scenes or in contemporary art kind of scene. And I went through and I made sort of a table of contents of people that I thought would be interesting to contribute, and most of these are my friends, right? I wasn't really planning at the time to make like a comprehensive type of publication. So I took out an envelope and I wrote this down. I took a photo of it and I posted it on Facebook and tagged everybody. And by the way, these are just made up a table of contents of stuff that I had wanted people to write about, right? So I wanted to have Dale from O'Reilly talk about why DARPA money is good. I wanted Mitch to talk about why DARPA money is bad. I wanted Benjamin Galan, he has a thing in your show there, I think. Talk about recycling. Tom Igo talking about before the Arduino. Natalie Jermenjenko talking about experimental design. Reed Gazala talking about bending versus making. I don't know if any of these names ring a bell. Anyhow, just getting different people to... it was actually sort of after having a few drinks that I wrote this and posted it on Facebook. And then what happened is that people started getting really excited about it, and they said, "Oh yeah, I'd love to contribute something," and it ended up just completely snowballing, to where it turned out that in the end, I had 70 people that sent me stuff. A lot of people sent me, just a sec. Actually, I don't have it right in front of me, but people sent me like envelopes dripping with like ink and glitter, and people started mailing me stuff, and I had a flood of like over 320 pages of content. Almost all of it was brand new. So what I did was, and this is the finished booklet. This is what it looks like. And the way that I did this is like the undressing of the bride and groom on their wedding night. It feels like something. Okay, so the way that this goes, and I made a hand stamp thing here. I wanted it nice and analog. I'd actually made some prototypes for different covers. This is using old keyboards, so it's critical making. But that was painful. I had almost 1,000 computer keyboards piled in my office, which wasn't very fun. Anyhow, so I split up the content into different booklets. This is an intro that I talk about the project, and people sent me all sorts of stuff. I made up a sort of a call for submissions that said, yeah, I want people to comment on the idea of combining critical thinking with making. And I'm interested at not just at hobby, weekend, suburban kind of dad in his garage making a 1 hour kind of goofy thing. I want like edgier kind of stuff. I want more technical kind of stuff, and I want to sort of have this maker stuff come into conversation with a lot of other things like hacking, craft, heavy duty electronics, politics, activism, and all this sort of junk. So the way that the booklet's split out is I had a manifesto. Hello? Yeah. Is my audio okay? Can you hear me? Okay, okay. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Okay, good. All right, so I have an intro where I talk about the painful um, procedure of making the thing. I made 300 copies, and I folded and bound and took an old sort of hacked photocopier and made all the stuff. So I described that here. Manifestos, people from all over the place that had different manifestos about making, breaking things, designing things, all this sort of stuff. Terms, which people talked about specific stuff. Projects, where people showed different projects that they had made. Conversations, interviews that I had done with a number of people. Places, different places, New York City, Northern Canada, remote, places in India. Science, sort of DIY science type of stuff. make reactions responding to the idea of mostly Make magazine, childhood, kids and youth or learning and this kind of thing, and history. So the submissions that people had sent in were all over the place. So you'd have people that for manifestos, they'd send in very refined type of work. People that would come from a background of design. Carl DeSalvo's at Georgia Tech, talking about adversarial design or making things in opposition to people or organizations. And Jonah Brooker Cohen, I don't know if any of you know him. He sort of does hacked type of art projects. And this goes on and on and on. There's 300 pages of this stuff. In terms of projects, and actually that's something that I'll just go into and show. I wanted to include everything from like some stuff that was like very, very low tech, like farmyard type of hack or kludge or cobbled together stuff, to the, Jay Silver from the Makey project had written something. The Fat Lab with Golan Levin and Roth and that gang, talking about InfoViz graffiti. Cool project. So people sent me all this stuff, and it was like, really cool type of projects. Kites that change things, DIY light up dildos, stuff that would never really make it into Make magazine. So not necessarily family friendly stuff. And this is a really cool thing by a guy, Daniel Joliffe, who's in Ottawa. He wrote a thing about 8 missing projects from the maker generation. So it was like designs that, sort of recipes for designs of stuff that the maker community doesn't really do, like Bill of Rights reference. So some of this is getting into civil liberties and or intellectual property, genocide, and other stuff. So I'm just wondering what else I should show here. There's also people who have contributed things that were in different languages. This is a really amazing project by Cheryl LaRondelle. She's based in Vancouver, Toronto. She had conceived of this project of writing a programming language in the Aboriginal language of Cree. And she wrote this actually in Cree. And I'm not an expert in Cree or anything like this, but it has a radically different concept of objects. And from what I understand, it would require a radically different type of programming language. So she had written something in Cree here. I'm not sure how many people can actually read it. And so anyhow, there's everything from lowrider bike clubs, modifying bikes in interesting ways, people making maps, stuff in Africa, Denmark. Let's see here. There's also, I was glad to include some stuff from Survival Research Labs. I don't know if any of you know Mark Pauline and SRL, but they'd been banned from Maker Faire for being too violent or whatever. So I had Mark write something about that. And there's stuff that was included from the Hope conference. Any of you go to the Hope conference? Hackers on Planet Earth. This is Mitch. Had written something here about the Hope conference and the idea of military funding and hacker spaces. There's Mitch, for any of you who don't know the guy. Anyhow, so I made this publication. I made 300 copies, and then I gave them all away. And now a whole bunch of other people want them. I mean, I had started it kind of as a gift type of thing, and I just sort of wanted to give it to people initially that I thought would really appreciate it. But the problem that I have now is that a lot of people really want it and really like the thing, and so I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do with distributing it, because it's like it's a nice collection of stuff. So what I thought, and I would be interested in any of your feedback on this, what I thought that I would do is scan the stuff, make it freely available online, and then have a suggested donation type of thing that if people wanted to donate to it, that they could donate. And I may do another run of hard copy zines and sell the sets as sort of like a revenue type of thing, but make the digital thing available for free. And here's some people that were in the project. So, and actually these are more the designy kind of people. Julian Bleeker at Nokia, Ann Burdick at Art Center, Chris Csikszentmihalyi, formerly from MIT, Dale Daughtery, blah, 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 lots of people. So anyhow, it's been interesting, and I do like the idea of taking that maker type of scene and complicating it a bit. If you want to read more about the project, and if you have your laptops there, that's the URL, conceptlab.com/criticalmaking. Yeah. And also, some people sent me stickers and stuff. So I also comes with a sticker pack. People had made maps of, South Central LA biking map, stuff like this. Yeah, so I'm not even here trying to sell this thing to you or whatever, because I don't even have any copies left. I have a couple copies left, and they're all sort of spoken for. So it's kind of awkward, because this is the point where I'd be like, order now. I hate talks like that, though. So anyhow, so that's the project, and it's been very successful, and people have been really excited about it that have received it. The only problem is that that there's only like a couple hundred people that have seen it. So I'd like to make it more widely distributed, but I want to balance the zine-ness of it, the handmade quality of it, with the problems of being stuck in a room and folding over 100,000 sheets of paper in building in actually printing this thing with 300 copies at over 350 pages each is over 100,000 pieces of paper. Tons, and I spent like $160 just on staples, sort of thing, um, doing it, and so it was a huge amount of time. And in some ways, that was very fun to work like that. And it was fun. Like I made sort of, I had the ability to, hand dye string and make it really, make aluminum kind of covers and sort of play around with stuff. But at the end of it, it's like, damn it, this is like a waste of time. And so in some ways it was really rewarding. In other ways, it was just completely physically demanding. Yeah, so that's generally the project, and yeah, so that's kind of it. Do any of you have any questions about it or the idea? I guess maybe I didn't even really talk that much about the foundation of the idea. Um, the idea, I'll just blab for another couple minutes. The main idea is that making stuff and thinking about stuff is important to combine, in that you can sort of talk about doing things and you can theorize about doing things, but actually implementing them is really important. Then on the other hand, just being stuck in a university and blabbing about, something on a theoretical level and not doing it is is also kind of crippled, because it really helps to be able to actually make stuff and do things in the world if you're going to have some sort of impact. So the idea is to bring together um, technical chops and like physical, like building skills or coding or whatever, along with using your brain and thinking about, your place in the world, and thinking about changes that you'd want to make in the world, or political changes, or you know this sort of stuff, more the activist kind of angle. And part of it was really, looking at Make Magazine while all this Occupy stuff was going on, and thinking, like there's a DIY component to this Occupy stuff, for example, that has nothing to do with Make Magazine. Make Magazine is just such a small sliver, and I mean, this is no surprise probably to anybody in the audience, but really wanting to bring a little bit wider net to the electronic DIY and Arduino MakerBot kind of crowd, is to say, look, like there's more to that scene than just printing up a 3-cent piece of plastic or getting an LED to blink. After you get an LED to blink, then what? Then what? What are you going to do with it? Is that are you going to make a Nyan Nyan Cat LED thing or whatever? I mean, that's fine and everything, but if you're actually going to do something, you need to engage your making with thinking about stuff. So that's it. So I welcome questions. Can I see the audience? Can I see the crowd? Hello. Hey, I see the waves. Yes. Uh, it's sort of like living inside the Mall of America. You know, the weather is always the same. I don't know what the weather is. It's like 80 or something like that. Well, my condolences to your balls. No, no. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, initially I put out the call for submissions to people saying that I was only going to make it as a handmade zine. And I think for a lot of people that was like really exciting to think that something might only exist on paper, you know? Like it's sort of like unreasonably old school, you know? Um, and so it was really for the people that got it, they were very, very excited that they had received this sort of handcrafted type of special thing. And so it worked to get interest in people submitting stuff, like 70 people submitting stuff, because it was like novel. I mean, it was just novel. But I totally, at the same time, I totally understand that it's completely um, unsupportable in the long run, and that it's completely impractical. You know, like spending a month just like mailing out stuff and trying to, you know, I spent like a month folding paper. You know, like it's not really it wasn't really feasible to do in a long run. And so I mean, part of it was a reaction against PDFs or everything being as a PDF or an e-reader type of format and wanting to do something different. But I think it was successful in doing that. But now, I mean, quite simply, because so many people submitted me analog originals, I don't actually have a PDF of the entire thing. I just haven't gone around to scanning the whole content and formatting it and all the rest of it. So I plan on doing that, but yeah, I'll definitely be doing that and having it as available as a free download or suggested donation with a free like a. I've seen some projects that have like a slider donation thing that you can slide it down to zero or you can slide it up to $10 and you just get the PDF either way um, for free if you want. So I'm planning on doing something like that. Um, it's in the works, but I'm teaching a programming class and other stuff right now that are occupying a bunch of my time, and so I haven't just got around to doing it. So when the school year gets out in a month or two, whatever, then I'll put this online. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Like, I think that, I mean, I think it's unfortunate that a lot of places, a lot of universities, high schools, and middle schools have taken out shop classes in the 90s, for the most part, replacing them with a computer lab, which is good and everything, but now it's a little bit obsolete to have a room full of old PCs because lots of kids have laptops and stuff like this. Um, and so I think that reintroducing that countercultural stuff, or even having a system that is more open ended, like that a kid can make like a pipe to smoke weed with in shop class, or having a more open ended kind of design process is good to encourage. And I mean, that's sort of what I'm doing with the this project, which I didn't really talk about, but I'm involved in a project funded by the National Science Foundation with the idea of introducing, and it's not like it's hacking in sort of like a double, like a scare quote kind of way, but the idea of just doing simple things like circuit bending for fourth graders and having that as a curriculum, because I think it's important to have stuff that's not like prescribed, like this is the one way that you have to do it and you have to fill out the worksheet and you have to score good on the test. I think it's really important to have open-ended stuff like a woodshop class or electronics or whatever that kids can follow stuff and be self-directed. Yeah. Yeah, thanks for having me. Hope you all have fun. All right. Take care. Yeah, see ya.